Hi friends, it's Gwen. Welcome back to my channel. I'm here to do a Thanksgiving book tag. I often miss the mark when it comes to holiday book tags, but I'm on it. I'm doing these early. I have 2 to do, and this is the first one. So let's get started with the Bookish Thanksgiving Tag created by Erica and Becca at Fangirls City. I will have the original link in the description box, so make sure to check out their video and their channel. So there are 10 questions in this tag, and let's go ahead and jump into the questions. This question, I'm definitely going to have to say, My Grandmother Asked Me to Tell You She's Sorry by Frederick Bachman. I read and reviewed this for BookTube tours, and while I did enjoy the book, it wasn't my favorite, and I probably will not be picking up anything else by this author, even though he has very character-driven novels. There is an underlying plot as well, but the characters are what really shined, and it was a very quirky book, almost too quirky. So there's 2 books that I read last month that kind of sort of made me fall asleep. They're both by Gillian Flynn, and that is Sharp Objects and Dark Places. As I said in my wrap up, they were very slow in the beginning, very slow paced compared to Gone Girl and The Grown Up by Gillian Flynn. And I often read at night in bed, and a combination of being tired and it being super slow paced and I wasn't getting immersed in the world like I usually do, definitely put me to sleep. I picked 2 for this, and the first one is The Raven King by Maggie Stiefvater for the Raven Cycle. I absolutely loved this book. The whole entire series was totally great. I loved each and every book, and I hear she's writing something from Ronan's point of view, and I can't wait to read it. Even though he wasn't my favorite character, her writing is so atmospheric, and just anything else set in this world with these characters, I think I'm gonna love. But the book that I first thought of when I saw this question was Ronin Rising by Leigh Bardugo. Even though the Grisha trilogy is totally not my thing and I really didn't enjoy it, I have a full discussion on my reading experience with this trilogy. I read it last year in December, and it definitely wasn't my favorite, but the first book I gave 3 stars, the second book I gave 2 stars, and the third and final book I gave 4 stars because I really liked the ending to this series and the action was just go, go, go. So I don't read a lot of action books, but one book that was like a complete whirlwind and I read in one sitting was Cruel Beautiful World by Caroline Leavitt. I absolutely loved this book. It's set in the 60s and the 70s, and the characters are just amazing, and it's kind of got like a twisted tale as well. So it was just really interesting, and I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 5 stars, and I don't talk about it quite as often as I should on my channel, so definitely pick up that book if you get a chance. As you guys know, I am a sucker for covers. They just really make me like buy a book or be interested in a book. It's like what draws me in. I love beautiful cover art, and 2 that really stick out to me that were really great on the outside, not so great on the inside. I have 2 of them. The first one is Bone Witch, which I don't even know if this book is out yet. I got an early art copy from NetGalley, and I did end up DNFing this, and I have a full DNF review on this that I will link down in the description box for you if you are interested in that. But the cover is absolutely amazing, and that's not even in person. That's just the digital cover. So I'm sure in person it's going to be so much more beautiful, but the story, I just could not get into it. And the second one was a recent DNF, and Still Here, which I thought was going to give me like a Little Life vibes a little bit because it was about 4 friends living in New York, going through various things. And I had recently read A Little Life, and I think that book just kind of sticks with you, so you're always hoping that you're going to get something else like that book. But let's be honest, Hanya Yanagihara like rocked that book so hard, and nobody's going to come close. For the sweetest romance, I'm going to choose 2 because I can't really choose between them, and that is It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover, which I have a full review on my channel, and I absolutely recommend that book. And another one is One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I talked a lot about that during BookTubeathon a while back during like the summertime. Loved that book so much. Okay, it took me a minute to come up with this one, but I came up with a corny book, or at least a corny thing within a book. I don't think the whole book as a whole was corny, but there was definitely a corny element, and it kind of drove me crazy, and that is Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. One of my favorite artists wrote this fantasy-esque book that's based off of a fan fiction from another book that she wrote, and I know people like compare it to Harry Potter because it kind of does have those vibes, but like not necessarily in a good way, I don't think. And the spells in there are based off of language and how you say them and the intent behind them. And that just totally did not work for me. I thought it was so corny. The book that I thought is too long is The Trilogy of Two, and the reason why I say this is it is a middle grade novel, and there was a lot of world building that could have been a lot richer and fuller had it been divided up into several books instead of cramming it all into one. The world was so interesting, and there were different kind of worlds and sections or countries. I actually got rid of this book and sent it to a fellow booktuber who I consider a friend because they read a lot more middle grade than I do, and hopefully they will enjoy it more than me. But I feel like if the book was shortened and split up into like 2 or 3 books, you know, even 2 would have been better. I think that it could have gone deeper into the world and you could have been even more immersed into the story, and I think I would have enjoyed it a little bit more. So for this question, there's not a particular book that gets me out of a reading slump. What gets me out of a reading slump is, and I have to admit that the number one reason why I get in a reading slump is because I'm reading a book that I'm not enjoying and I'm trying to force myself through it. So the 3 tips that I use to get myself out of a reading slump is either A, pick up my favorite book of all time, which just so happens to be The Giver by Lois Lowry, but I've never really had to do that. What I tend to do more often than not is set the book that I'm currently reading aside and decide later on if I'm going to pick it back up or not, but choose another book on my TBR shelf or another author or genre that I'm really interested in other than what I'm currently reading. And another tip that I have for you is just to not force yourself to read. Do something else. Go out, take a walk, go out with friends and grab coffee, go to a movie, you know, something else that you enjoy to do. Don't force yourself to read something that you're not enjoying. And my 4th and final tip is DNF it. So my absolute favorite thing at Thanksgiving dinner is the green bean casserole. I know it's probably pretty basic, some green beans, some cream of mushroom soup, and the little French onions on top, but I absolutely love it, so much so that if I'm invited to someone's Thanksgiving dinner and they don't plan on having it there, I will make it myself. In fact, I prefer it that way because I really like my recipe. And fun fact, one of my sorority sisters from the new chapter is the actual founder or creator of the green bean casserole. But that's all I have for you today. I hope you've enjoyed this. Don't forget to check the description box for the original video, and the people I will be tagging will be linked down below as well. So check the description box just in case I've tagged you. I hope you're having a lovely day, and I'll see you again in my next video. Bye!